Being neurodivergent, we're a lot more prone to having our shame triggered. This is because we often have an extensive history of being oppressed, of being marginalized because of our status as neurodivergents. We grow up in ableist societies, which might not be necessarily malicious, but are designed by and for neurotypicals, and they enforce this message that there is only one standard of normal, and if you don't meet that standard, there's something inherently wrong with you. And this can lead us to develop rejection sensitivity. This response to complex trauma, sensitivity to criticism, rejection, mistakes, this kind of fear that there's something inherently wrong with you that can be triggered by the slightest thing. Somebody might even just imply or insinuate that we've made a mistake, or we might assume or believe that they're doing so, or we might anticipate that, and it can trigger our rejection sensitivity, and then we go down the shame spiral of believing that there's something wrong with us, that we're defective, insufficient, unlovable. Whatever the shame script is that we've developed as a result of our experiences, it starts off and then it loops in our head. And we look for evidence to substantiate that. We withdraw from people, we become avoidant, we become shut down emotionally. The alternative to that is practicing shame resilience. Easier said than done. But to me, shame resilience means learning to be more authentic, expressing yourself within reason, modulating rather than masking, adjusting according to the needs or the environment that you're in, and trying to show up as your true self with that caveat that, you have to obviously consider that you're reading the room first and you know what the needs of the people are around you and you're working within the bounds of that. We all have to do that to some extent. Trying our best to show up truthfully and authentically. Owning your impact and mistakes, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, not necessarily shaming or guilting yourself about it, just going, oh, it's a human thing, I did a human thing, I will learn from this, I will acknowledge if my actions have impacted somebody in a negative way, but I'm not going to take that as an indictment of who I am and believe that because I didn't understand a social expectation, because I was too direct, because I was blunt or I was accidentally offensive, this is going to happen and I will make amends or, repair the rupture, but I don't need to go take that and use it as evidence of a story that I'm telling about myself as being somebody who's inherently wrong or defective or whatever it is. Cultivating curiosity, so being open-minded if you get feedback, not immediately shutting down, just listening to it, and being open to learning from mistakes, having a growth mindset, not going like, oh, I failed, so therefore I'm a failure. That's very fixed mindset. Going, well, what can I learn from this experience and how can I move forward, rather than, again, sinking into the shame. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable around other people within reason if you know that those people are trustworthy and can bear the weight of what you're sharing and they've earned the right by, consistent friendship, attentiveness, attunement, showing up for you, picking the people that deserve and are willing to actually hold whatever it is you're offering. Having assertive communication in all your interactions, stating what you need, what your expectations are, what your feelings are, and also requesting and exploring that for the other person so that it's kind of balanced. Hey, I'm feeling this way and this way, this is what I need, using I statements. And then what are your thoughts about this? I would love to hear what your feelings are, what your reactions are, what do you need from me, this kind of stuff, right? Instead of shying from it, instead of cringing and pulling away and avoiding those conversations because you're fearful of not being people-pleasing and then leading to conflict or leading to that person judging you or getting angry at you, being willing to just stand on your truth and express what you need and what your feelings are and, take into consideration other people's feelings, but not shrinking from that open expression of what you might need or what your expectations are, or what your feelings are. Communicating hurt feelings is part of that. Or communicating all kinds of feelings even. Letting people know what it is that you're holding, again, within reason. If it will inform that relationship dynamic, if it will speak to an unmet need or expectation, and if it will ultimately, through that truthfulness, that authenticity, bring you closer together. So if somebody says or does something that I think might have hurt me and it might not have been intentional, I might share, for example, that, hey, when you said X, Y, Z, it made me think this. Is that what you meant? Asking clarifying questions. Again, practicing that vulnerability and seeking to understand first and then trying to be understood afterward. That's part of that curiosity component of going, okay, what was going on for this person? What were their intentions? Not assuming or inferring, exploring openly and having that direct communication about it. And then letting them know that, yes, their words did impact you, because if you're willing to listen to them and how their actions or behavior might have impacted you, then likewise, it has to be repaired. It has to be, across both people, both individuals involved, both parties are responsible for holding that space for each other. That is what shame resilience looks like for me in my interpersonal interactions. What would it look like for you? And have you been able to practice shame resilience, or do you find yourself often sliding into this spiral of shame and telling stories about yourself that aren't necessarily flattering or helpful, and then confining yourself to this very fixed mindset where you feel stuck and like you can never progress or grow as a person? I would love to hear all about your experiences.